Hello and welcome everyone. My name's Kodak. Today we're going to be looking at an upcoming zombie survival game. I know, not another failed DayZ clone, but I have to admit, this looks very promising both from the gameplay that I've seen so far and from the dev team themselves. These guys are pretty informative and keep the community up to date. The game is Dead Matter. Some of you may have heard me mention this game before. Some of you may be following the development closely yourselves, but some of you may not have heard of this game at all. I'd love to introduce you and show you a bit about it because I'm sure you'll be hearing and seeing much more about this game in the near future. I'm going to be linking their website, Discord, and where you can back the game in the description below. Hope you enjoy. So what is Dead Matter? Dead Matter is a zombie survival roguelite set in a near-future post-apocalyptic Alberta. It aims to provide a proper balance between survival mechanics and fulfilling gameplay by bringing together various elements of the open-world survival genre and including original touches from the dev team. Dead Matter is being made by indie company Quantum Integrity Software, a development studio situated in Calgary, a city in the province of Alberta, Canada. Notable features they've listed include a detailed open-world interpretation of Alberta, vehicles to explore the city with, the ability to use almost any building as a safe house, and that full modding support, including Steam Workshop, is indeed planned. A few days ago, we got a live look at the game's character creation and a demonstration in the shooting range where we got to check out a few of the weapons. I'd like to thank both QI devs and Twitch streamer Klean for making this possible. I greatly appreciate you allowing us to use this content. Upon arriving at the character creation menu, you're met with 4 windows: occupation, character data, perk points, and perk selection. The 2 main focuses here appear to be the role you choose as the occupation you had prior to the outbreak that could come in useful to yourself and others, and your selection of perks, which include a list of traits, hobbies, skills, and stats. These perks may affect your attributes, and it is important to note that attributes are not something you will be able to level through in-game experience. Your prior occupation and the perks you select will require perk points. You start out with a set number of these points to spend, but it is possible to acquire more of them by giving yourself some debuffs that return said perk points. Let's take a second and listen in on what the devs said about this character creation system.
Since you guys are here, would you guys like to do a breakdown of character creation here?
It's primarily Nick's wheelhouse. This is really his thing, but the basic idea is we want a character creation system, given that our focus is more on having a character than having them in the world, so not as much on character development, and more on running a character to their sort of just ultimate end. We're trying to offer a lot of options to give an interesting playthrough on a per character basis, so everything you see in here is just sort of meant as flavor for you to go forward with.
So attributes here. Are attributes something that could be leveled as you play, or is that only your skills?
Attributes at the current time you can't actually level those, but you can definitely improve them using perks. So depending on things you have or clothes that you wear, it's going to affect the outcome of stuff. Like, for example, if you're wearing armor, it's going to obviously make you take less damage, but they're not character stats that you can level, no.
Okay, that's cool. So when you make your attributes, they're kind of like special stats in Fallout, where it's these are locked in for your entire playthrough, and you're kind of they give specific stark advantages for certain things in terms of gameplay.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
I love how you guys made the perk system here too. I know this is Nick's brainchild, but I love the negatives and positives. So for example, you can get the ability to gain CPR and that takes away points, but then I can be all right, I'm also going to do peanut allergy, and you get more points back so that you can have more positives. So it creates a lot of counter negatives. So you can have a bunch of buffs, but you can also give yourself debuffs in order to give yourself more buffs, and it kind of creates a unique play style for yourself, which I think is super cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of ways flavoring your run through,
Right.
We definitely have to limit it at some point though, because I think right now it's possible to just pick every perk because it's plus and minus, and we've had a few playthroughs of really strange characters that seem to have every condition on the planet.
I remember Nick, he actually told me that a lot of these construction worker, repairman, chef, and stuff like that, these are more designated roles for you to kind of specifically be powerful in a certain aspect of the game, agriculture or cooking or being a doctor. And like correct me if I'm wrong, but one of the premises is like you don't want anybody to be a super soldier, and you want people to cooperate with other people because other people will have advantages over others. Like, you know, having a doctor in your base is going to be the guy who, you know, would be the guy who heals everybody, and your chef would be able to make the best meals, and he would be able to get like some good boosts towards your group with those meals, or, you know, so on and so forth, I guess, or like your carpenter.
Yeah, the
Absolutely.
idea is basically that it's trying to prevent KOS. So if you search for a doctor, for example, you just shoot everyone on the side.
I see.
You're gonna ask him first, and then you shoot him.
This idea to try and prevent killing on sight, otherwise known as KOS, sounded a bit unexciting for me at first, because I enjoy the rush of PvP in a survival game. The thought of losing your gear and any loot on you is a big part of what's fun to me. It's also what made Escape from Tarkov exciting to me. My first experience with the genre was a more hardcore survival experience in Arma 2's Origins mod. KOS was expected, and having a kill feed displayed to you when someone died stirred things up and generated some excitement in the server. The kill feed alone would help create alliances and allow players to know who they were dealing with. But the more I thought about QI's approach to player interactions, I've come to accept it slightly more because it doesn't necessarily mean that KOS won't still occur. Players will just have to choose whether to kill anyone they encounter and keep to themselves and their friends, or attempt at making new friends with other survivors. In other words, we're being encouraged to work together in order to survive. Guess you never know when you could come across a survivor with a particular set of skills obtained from their previous occupation, who might be very useful and better off as an ally.
I'm gonna bed when I laughed this hard at 4 in the morning.
Here's a quick look at the player inventory. It's a few versions out of date, but it's a good example as to what we can expect. There are 4 tabs consisting of the player's gear, health status, active quests, and personal stats. The left side of the screen, while under the gear tab, contains what articles of clothing you're wearing, any armor you have equipped, primary and melee weapons, and sort of a gadget bar where you can hold a radio, binos, map, compass, keyring, and a wallet. The right side of the screen displays the contents of the items worn by the player. And on the bottom center of the screen, you can find your survivor's hunger, thirst, and temp levels. The medical tab displays your vitals. These include your total HP, oxygen level, heart rate, and a more in-depth look at your nutrition levels. There's also an area for displaying any conditions your survivor may have. The UI overall should feel familiar to anyone with experience in survival games. A few of the guns we were shown during Klean's stream were the Uzi, MP5, (1873) lever action, VZ58,
Okay, good.
Tech 9, M4,
Yeah. There you go.
AS Val, NM14. How big is the map going to be? The closed alpha will take place in a section of southern Alberta that's about 7.5 by 7.5 kilometers, roughly 56 kilometers squared. To put this into perspective, Far Cry 5's map is about 60 kilometers squared, so just under that. Another close example is PUBG's map at 64 kilometers squared. This will be expanded throughout the closed alpha and early access to be about 16 by 16 kilometers, roughly 256 kilometers squared. Devs have shared the town will feature shops, industrial buildings, a large grocery store, a library, an under construction rec center, a clinic, some camps, a police station, and dozens of residential buildings. There will also be AI traders, and there will be save zones for them. Female character models will also be coming, just not for the closed alpha. Here's a small weather demo as the devs answered questions from the chat.
So we will have an NDA in place for the closed alpha. It will be prohibiting sharing of any closed alpha content both during and after the launch of the closed alpha. We will be making very selective, curated exceptions such as this one for some of our partnered content creators, but otherwise we're going to be holding off on sharing closed alpha content because, again, it's a closed alpha. It's not ready for public consumption.
Crossbows are planned, and yes, there is leaning. There's even like Tarkov leaning, like sequential leaning, if you use the mouse wheel.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you can only...
Well, so will snow like slowly build up over time as well?
Yep, not in the closed alpha though.
Yeah,
okay.
it's not in yet. But we have to shader and everything.
Goddamn.
One of my questions to devs is if there will be a karma type reputation system implemented at any point. Will there be a karma system similar to that of Origins mod's hero bandit reputation levels? I would personally love to see something like this in the future. Have the reputation faction grant access to different trader items, and have the rep levels determine which of those items you are able to purchase. Nothing that gives an advantage to any player, but maybe certain articles of clothing or vehicle paint jobs. A way to give players the ability to express themselves. Thanks for sticking around until the end. I'm excited for this game, and can't wait to see how it continues to progress. The devs are an intelligent and talented group of individuals, and I really do believe this game will succeed. Until next time, team.